Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve pure kerfuffles from every world and beyond.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
I'm your host, Lexi Auld, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and EUGENE'S Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight. Everything everyone knows about ass kicking, but we're afraid you'd get your ass kicked.
This is just like a spiking it in the end zone, just like in your face, Kid Nate, in your face.
Hardly.
What would the Kid Nate intro be without saying and everything you ever want about something?
Yeah.
That's what makes it.
I know.
I do the world and beyond. And he goes some.
It's his signature move,
Exactly. Without it, I think that
It's
the
like I
body
do.
snatchers.
Yeah.
So speaking about signature moves, Eugene, your WME-IMG.
Ah, man, it's good to be the king.
Rumors abound
Yeah.
that former UFC welterweight champion George St. Pierre is targeting championships in 3 different weight divisions for his final fights.
Yeah, okay.
Should you invest in GSP's quest for gold, or must you put this CAA jabroni in the Adi clutch, break his back, and make him humble?
No. Look. I don't know. There's a certain type of guy, and I'm sure your women friends can attest to this type of guy, who's like, yeah, baby, I'm gonna fuck the shit out. I'm gonna. You never had a guy like me before, And after about 10 minutes of this, the woman starts to say, like, you know what? All right, shit, lay it on the line, Jack. And then he's like, and now someday I'm gonna lay it on you, and or like a friend of mine, or a guy who I knew. We used to call him a gangbang enthusiast, since he never actually managed to show up to any, but liked to talk about them. I mean, GSP, you got to understand that GSP is trying to reintroduce into the brand of GSP something that's been absent from the brand of GSP for a long time, and he comes back. I mean, this is one thing that if you haven't watched that Dave Chappelle special, you should know. Man, time waits for no one, Jack, and you can missteps. Not the same cat. Not the same cat who left 10 years ago. To me, it's a wink of the eye, because the YouTube makes everything old new again, but nothing stays the same. I rolled with a guy who last time he was in was 6 months ago, and I don't feel like, because all the boats are rising at the same time, I don't feel like, well, my progress is really slow. It was like the Matrix. I know I'm not that good, but dude just lost many steps. And so you take a guy who was moderately exciting by the time he left. I'm not talking about him at his height. He was capable of being completely exciting when he was hungry. It's like the
He was Uncle Eugene.
Hungry, but that's not how he left. That's not how I remember him.
That's how old Eugene is. He can remember
exactly.
when GSP was exciting.
And the reality of it is that people, right? Yeah, fuck. That's it in a nutshell. So how does a guy get back? Well, what do these young kids do? Well, they're talking their way back in. So say a raft of crazy shit, generate some interest. It behooves him and it behooves us. I have no problem at all with that guy making outlandish claims, and he's going to do this, he's going to do that. But at some point, somebody in the opposite side of the cage is going to call his bluff and say, okay, lay it out. And he's going to say, not right now. Maybe tomorrow, or, I mean, he should look at that Rodriguez BJ Penn fight to find out how that shit works, really.
Damn.
Ooh. Yeah, time would have to have passed. A lot of time would have to have passed for GSP to look as bad as BJ Penn. I think the difference there is BJ Penn hasn't trained, probably hasn't even jumped rope or jogged in the interval. And GSP, I believe, has been working out every day, and I believe him, and going to bed in his race car bed at his parents' house. So
I'm sure he quit so he could do a lot of that.
I mean, who wouldn't? Return to the womb. It's like cozy and a dream for everybody. I mean, I got to hand it to GSP. At least he's talking something, because the guy is so nice and so vanilla I mean, for a Quebecois, he's a very white bread kind of guy. And so I'm glad he's talking a little trash. He's not going full Chael Sonnen. He's not, talking shit with Fedor Emelianenko sitting right next to him in front of everybody.
I'm paper Sonnen.
Yeah. But I mean, it's what he can do. And look, with the way the UFC's divisions have been falling apart, I mean, I think he has an excellent chance of beating Michael Bisping, the middleweight champ. I think that
the old Michael Bisping.
The old Michael Bisping. I don't so much like his chances against Tyron Woodley, but I do believe GSP is smart enough to do the same game plan Jake Shields beat Woodley with. So that's two he's got a realistic shot at. And I think he could beat the piss out of the lightweight champ. Who is that again? He's like, God, who the fuck is that guy? You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I think GSP would just mop the floor with that little run. So there you go. He's, we'll see if he's got anything left.
I'm a hard man.
Well, Nate, one of those guys that you were talking about, you're going to have to become UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley. Snoop Dogg posted footage of you knocking out opponents while hyping up your skills as a movie star and a champion, as he called you. He ended with your knockdown of Wonder Boy, clowned him and asked, and they called that a draw? End quote. How do you maximize Snoop for your PR betterment?
Man, you call WME tomorrow and you're like, get me something with Snoop, maybe a 3-way with Martha Stewart. Like, let's get me on the cooking show, baby. Like, I mean, monetize this shit. Like, surely WME realizes that Snoop is money. I mean, Snoop at this point, once upon a time, Snoop was a little bit controversial. But these days, he's more like the 21st century Louis Armstrong. I mean, everybody loves Snoop.
Damn.
And I don't mean that like in a bad way.
Gin and juice, hoes bouncing down.
I mean that in like a sincere way. He's become an American institution. Like, everybody loves Snoop.
And Louis Armstrong did smoke weed every day.
Every day. I mean, Louis was also the greatest jazz musician of the 20s, 30s, and one of the greats for his whole career, even if he did go on to enjoy pop stardom and everything else in his later years. I mean, Snoop hasn't been the king of rap in 20-something years, but he has a great body of work, and he's gone on to be, a beloved celebrity. So fucking milk it. If you're Tyron Woodley, retweet that shit. Get on the, contact WME to set up some shit, but also contact Snoop directly, communicate with Snoop with social media so you can go back and forth and build on it. I mean, this is fucking found money. This is like some political buddy of mine got retweeted by J.K. Rowling the other day, and after he stopped ejaculating on himself, I mean, it's like, just roll around in the money, dude. Take it. It's there. Grab it. Don't miss your moment, Mr. Woodley.
See, the problem is, and this is where I have strong suspicions that a lot of his beef comes from misunderstanding how this thing works. Nobody starts out in life saying, I think I want to do public relations. What do you want to be, little Johnny? I want to do public relations. I want to tell everybody, all the boys and girls of America, about some scumbag who makes twice as much money as I do while they ask me to get coffee. Nobody wants to do that. So, I've been in entertainment since 1980, and I've been dealt with more than even before then. They did Andy Warhol shit in the late 70s. Huge raft of these people. I'm sorry, they're not the smartest. The great ones are really smart, but guys like me are never encountering the great ones. So what has to happen is you got to go in there and spell it out for them. You got to spell it out. You got to say, look, have you seen this? And they're like, do you know what this means? No. It means you got to get on the phone and you got to make some sort of PR hay about this, because if you're waiting thinking, well, I'm the champ, somebody should do this for me, that shit doesn't get done. That's not the way it works. Self-promotion is the best promotion you have because you're working with somebody who cares.
Exactly. And you could say he could still play into his narrative of, the blackness. Like, he's black, I'm black, Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
Oh,
No. You have to keep it short, declarative sentences.
damn.
You know, I want a TV show with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, actually, I've called him and he's excited about the TV show. Could you get him my reel? That's it. Oh, go to the post office. They get the reel. It's done. Simple, declarative sentences.
Man. Well, speaking about simple and declarative, or someone who is not simple, but some people think is simple in the simple sense.
Simpleton. Another word
Eugene.
I'm trying to bring back.
It's a slur, Eugene.
Simple. Yeah, I know. But
Almost
you know,
every good word is. But anyway, we're here now, and Eugene, your NCAA dad, Lavar Ball. You enjoyed fame on the back of your superstar UCLA basketball phenom freshman son, Lonzo Ball. With his team no longer competing in March Madness, how do you maintain your relevance live and in public, if you will, as the Bull of the Woods?
you know what? Okay, you know what I just said about Tyron? Don't listen to what I just said, Mr. Ball. It's got nothing to do with you. You know, you got nothing to do with you. There's not. I just want this guy to go away. I am tormented by March Madness. I don't like this idea that once you enter public life that you will lie, cheat, steal, whore, and kill to stay there. It's like, enjoy your moment. Maybe there'll be another moment. Come back, but your offering is thin. It's like Glengarry Glen Ross. Your leads are weak. You are weak. Why am I paying attention to this guy? Why? If I'm him, I kind of like the idea sometimes of going gently into the good night. Or there's always Dancing for Stars. But otherwise, what is he offering? And there's also the thing of the whole weird Marinovich thing of like, yo, Jack, Dad, it's kind of my moment, man. It's kind of my moment, right? How about you fuck off? But that's because I have a befouled relationship with my father that I'm feeling that way. But I'm perfectly okay with dude finding the back. Look, Billy Joe's father, or no, the drummer from Green Day's father drives their tour bus. That's it, man. He's happy. Maybe he doesn't even drive a tour bus anymore. He's roadieing and selling merch, and he's just happy to be there. I don't want to know about this guy. Don't want to know about him. What's his offer?
You weren't
Why is he
entertained.
there?
You're not
What's that?
entertained by this. You're not entertained by this dude.
No.
Damn. What do you think, Nate?
Well, I think he should hook up his son with one of the Kardashian girls who hasn't broke big yet for a new AJ fuck video, the whole bit, and give it to him for his birthday.
All right, let's make believe it's your son for a second, since you do have a son in actual fact. The advice changes, I see.
Well, my son's 9, so that would be criminal.
I'd hook up my son. He's 4.
That's disgusting. Calling the police right now. Yeah, I mean, milk it, Jack. This is America, man. I mean, shame, no shame in your game. Just fucking go with it. And the thing is, his son has the gifts on the court, but has no gift of gab that's apparent.
Yep.
So it's like he's like the pallbearer for the Undertaker. The Undertaker doesn't have to talk.
Oh, yes.
And the comments saying that your Iron Sheik is weak compared to Alexa.
My favorite thing is when Tiger Woods gave his okay, a lot of people will say this was the beginning of the end for him, but when he gave his father the walking papers, where all of a sudden the Earl was there and he's like, hey, Dad, hey, Ixnay on the octave. And that was that.
And in no time at all, there's a Swedish woman throwing golf clubs through Tiger's windshield.
There you go. How'd that go? But you know what? The thing I think is funny about LeVar Ball is there are a couple of things that he can do. Number one is he has the draft coming up, so that's when he'll resurface rookie season. And listen, if you don't like it too, Eugene, this is going to be an annual event at least 2 more times because he said, I got 2 more chances. I got 2 more sons.
Okay.
So watch out, man.
Yeah,
right. Hey, what about the Williams sisters and their dad? Did they ever give him the Murray Wilson treatment, or is he still?
Nah, but I think they had a better relationship. They actually like Charlie Murphyized him and turned his energies out toward. I mean, there was like wasn't that great thing where he was like giving some journalist a hard time, like, hey, let my kids be kids.
Yep.
And I thought that if he did nothing else before or after then, that was it. That was a crowning
But then
moment.
he also did switch because he did acknowledge the fact that at a certain point he was getting caught up in the money and all this kind of stuff. And at a certain point, he's like, you know what? When he moved, I think they moved to Florida. He was like, "Fuck this! Like, you know, they need to be kids." And like you said, it was a part of that whole narrative. Like, you know, they need to go to school. They need to enjoy their childhood. Yes, you know what? I'm pulling them out of amateur tournaments. They need to grow up and live life a little bit before they make that money for me.
Well, you know,
just back on their college friends. Was that
look, all of my kids did TV commercials, and the agent was like, "Okay, next year," and I had to say, there'll be no next year. They go, what? You know, Ruby did a Tide commercial. Grace was auditioning for the movie with Tom Hanks, and I go,
is it as much money as they say?
"Oh, they have a little bit for college, but not much." National
Because
commercials.
you spent the rest.
Coogan Law, baby. Coogan Law.
Like Gary Coleman's parents, man. Throwing up blood backstage. Get back on that stage!
You know, I've been panicked about college, so it went to their college fund. But the reality of it is, I said the agent was like, "Well, next year." I go, "There's no next year." So, oh, you switching agencies? Yeah, into first grade. See, first grade takes precedence over this teeny tiny bullshit. Because I went to school with some guy who was. His claim to fame was he was starring in that movie Up the Academy.
Oh, I remember that one.
A classic.
Yeah,
one
so
of the best films.
The black kid in Up the Academy went to my high school, and he was kind of like a mini celeb. But where's dude now? And Vinny Spano was another one. His parents let him drop out of fucking Stuyvesant High School, so his career lasted longer than the kid from Up the Academy, Vincent Spano. But it's straight to video. Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, great guy. Both of those good guys. So, but you know, you got to plan for the future, Jack.
You're just jealous because they had better script selection instincts than you did. I mean,
not at all. Not at all.
The Academy's way better than Leonard Part 6.
For that,
time has rendered its verdict.
Well, I've never seen it. Wasn't Up the Academy like Animal House for kids?
It was really hapless and hopeless. It was. It would have been better if they had just done a new soundtrack for Taps with Timothy Hutton and Matt Dillon, you know, added yakety sax to it.
You know, Matt Dillon hung out.
I've heard a lot of people with stories about Matt Dillon hanging out. Many of them young married women.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he actually like went to the Lower East Side back in the early '80s and
screwed people's moms.
Nah, he was screwing people, but he wasn't as bad as Prince, who screwed a buddy of mine's girlfriend and drove up in the limo, and I wasn't there. Everybody was gathered there to kick the shit out of Prince, right? And she's like, "Look, I'm just gonna go to dinner with him. It's just you're being ridiculous." Is when he was making Alphabet City, and the fucking limo pulls up, and all these like skinheads and like Lower East Side punk rockers are like kind of circling, and then his 6'6" bodyguard gets out and walks around and opens the door, and Prince has like one hand sticking out. Fucking movie, and she runs down the stairs, goes, "I'll be back," and you know, Prince pulls her in, the limo pulls off, and she was back.
Changed for life.
The next day.
Yeah.
On her back. That night. So, Nate, you're the ex-husband of Rachel Dolezal.
Nice segue. That's why we deserve the big dollars.
Because instead of the hand, it's like look at the other hand. Yeah. In her memoir, in full color, your ex, who was a white woman passing for a black woman, claims she was passing. She was passed. She got some gigs, man.
She duped the entire chair of the Spokane, Washington NAACP.
Exactly, man. They saw that crimpy hair and they're like, "Oh my God, light-skinned." She claims you couldn't handle her blackness. And during your marriage, you wanted a white woman who acted like a white woman. Is it time for your own memoir, tweet, or continued silence?
Man, continued silence. Like, if you're this dude, you're dealing with a lifelong PR problem in that you married and spawned children with Miss Rachel. And like, yeah, there's no, I mean, just, you know, probably change your name. Move, change the kids' names, move them, change your relatives' names. I mean, anything you can do to disassociate yourself. And my advice to her is read the Milagro Beanfield War, which is an 80s, like, popular. They made a movie with Robert Redford or whatever. It has a very insightful bit where there's a white guy who's learned Spanish and very interested in the New Mexico native culture, and he marries a woman from that community who's very interested in white people, and they're both miserable because she wants dude to be white, like her fantasy white guy that she married, and he wants her to be Latina, like his fantasy Latina woman that he married, and it didn't work out. I'm not saying interracial or intercultural marriages don't work. I'm just saying try to get on the same page with what you're wanting and make sure that you're not just fantasy fulfillment for each other, because that never works. If you're marrying your fantasy instead of a person, well, you're fucked from the get-go.
Over your fetish.
Yes,
not a
he's
fetishized.
Fetish. I mean, and like, yeah, if he wanted a black woman, he would have married one. I mean, maybe there aren't many in Spokane, but
that's
he
as
could
good
have
as
made
it's going to get. Maybe he should put a book out. I think he should put a book out as good as it was going to get.
I mean, look, people we like each other for our representative values too. So there's nothing wrong with, dude, it's like if I buy a goat, I expect a goat. I had this extended thing where the guy goes to a store and they sell him a fish. He gets home and the fish is sitting on the couch. And it's like, man, you look a lot like a monkey. No, I'm a fish. And it jumps in the fish tank and splashes around. It doesn't make it a fish, man, just because it's in the fish tank, So in this instance, I think that I think you need to just go away. Marry Kayla Turno. Just need to go away. You need to, anytime somebody says, now I saw you in the paper, it's not going to be a good thing. It'll never be a good thing. Your offering was thin to begin with. You're using up the oxygen in the room. You don't need any more of those minutes of fame. Just go away. There's nothing you could say that's going to make you more interesting than your first act. So just stop it. I mean, I did go
try to cat. He should just hide, just continued his silence.
Are they still married?
No. I believe they're split.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
No one was more shocked to find out she was white than him. That's
yeah. I don't know how shocked he was. I remember I was dating this Finnish woman, and then but we didn't really break up. I just lost interest in her shtick, And part of her shtick was like, well, you're not a real black guy. You don't walk cool. You don't talk cool. Because she grew up seeing like guys on TV, like I'm supposed to be some kind of hip hop star. And
give me a dynamite, Eugene.
Yeah, exactly. I met her in the movie theater at Beat Street. I went to see Beat Street with me, and she goes out with this guy Billy. Billy was real. And then I get a tearful call from her at midnight some night. Apparently, they got into an argument on the Bay Bridge in San Francisco, coming from Oakland to San Francisco. He's like, Billy, we're on the bridge. It's not, for your edification, not a pedestrian bridge. So she's like, get out. He shoves her out of the car, pulls off. She walks off the bridge. This is days before cell phones. She calls me on a payphone. Eugene, Billy, he put me out. It was the funniest fucking thing in my entire life. There you go, baby. You wanted it real, you got it. Don't be calling me, asking for help. Don't be
calling my white ass.
Yeah, exactly.
But see,
that's right.
And that's where you could tell her, look, if I was really white, I'd come get you. And white too.
Well, think what you were saying. Yeah, exactly. I want you to get the full effect of the experience.
Yeah, I didn't do like my friend, the sports agent extraordinaire, Salvatore Russo, who when people would call him with sad stories, would take his penis out and begin masturbating, but make it really clear on the phone that that's what he was doing. He's like, hey, tell me that part again when you got, where you got kicked out of your apartment. And he'd be like, yeah. And he goes, you'd be surprised how quickly the phone calls stop after that.
Problem solved.
So one problem that's not going to be solved quickly.
And wait, for the record, I could have done Donna Shalala like 3 stories in that one. But
Hey.
he was
but
on
you
a roll.
were
So I
feeling
let him go.
gracious. You were feeling
I'm a kind of benevolent.
So, Eugene, you're Dave Chappelle. You enjoyed a big payday for dusting off some old recordings for new Netflix specials. So how do you handle the bad PR from LGBT fans taking issue with jokes they consider to be outdated, tone deaf, and hurtful?
you needed to look, because I am working on a piece right now, the headline of which is Dave Chappelle is gay. I have come to the conclusion that this is a recurring leitmotif to his work, and I'm going to tie it in Eugene knuckle up style in complete insanity to the fact that he may or may not be using hormonal disruptors vis-a-vis his fucking 30-pound gain of muscle. And this causes kind of
And Ozzy's legal team has vetted this.
No, not yet. I'm trying to.
Plus, the lawsuit will bring good PR. They'll get so many views.
No. I'm trying to do it as an
you might want to take.
As an op-ed piece. I'm thinking about it because this has been a continual preoccupation for him. And I'll give you 3 potent instances. One is when he's talking about the porn he enjoys, and he says he doesn't like not only doesn't like threesome porn, but he doesn't like the idea of threesomes because he has a 1 penis rule. It's like he goes, I'm in the room. I only want 1 other penis there. It's like, are you kidding me?
1 other penis?
Yeah, right.
He wants it to be intimate so he can focus.
I've been in threesomes before, and the fact of the matter is, I'm not noticing any penis but mine in the room. It's just not. It's not. Doesn't factor in. But here he is thinking about it. Here he is thinking about it enough to say, even up to and including watching porn that his eyes maybe just, if you could hook him up to a meter, he just keeps going. Then there's the thing about being in San Francisco, and he's like walking around the Castro. And he's like, oh, there's a gay guy. Ha, the guy's holding hands. Oh, there's another gay guy. Oh, and then he realizes, oh my God, I'm in the Castro. Oh, by accident. And this is continued. They ask him at one point, the producers ask him to wear a dress.
And Eugene's frozen again. Dave Chappelle has blocked Eugene.
Exactly. The power, Chappelle.
The powers.
I think he was giving that story where he went off because he didn't want to be a guy.
He's back.
He stuck to job in the dress. He didn't want to wear a dress.
Sound. We can't hear you, Eugene. Audio.
See what happens when you fuck with
Now
Dave
you're
Chappelle?
muted. Unmute yourself. Now you're fucked. Now we're fucked. See, Dave Chappelle has zipped that lip. Check your settings widget, Eugene.
Exactly. Try publishing that story now.
In your face. I think.
Go ahead. You think what?
Eugene can when and if Eugene can speak, he can interrupt me. But I think Chappelle's problem was he was trying to get something for nothing. He didn't want to do any work. He didn't want to make any new material. He just wanted to cash in off old shit he had in the bag, and this is what happens. I don't think 2017 Dave Chappelle would have said that shit, but 2007 Chappelle gleefully couldn't get away with it, and now he's paying the price.
But so funny though,
for nothing.
But here's the weird thing is with this is last year there was an article talking about Curb Your Enthusiasm coming back, and how Larry David was not around during the outrage culture of the internet. And a lot of things that he did and got away with back in the day, nowadays people are too people aren't going to just take that stuff. I mean, they have an outlet to be able to express their concern. There's a lot of outrage. So the question is, how is he going to adapt to this totally changed landscape? Now, I think that's what happened with Dave Chappelle as well. It's one thing to engage in certain kinds of things in a certain context and culture and certain gatekeepers in place. But nowadays, man, people call you on your shit.
But does Larry David give a fuck?
Well, that's the thing. They think he doesn't, because that's the whole point of the comedy. Even as a stand-up comic, like it's like a kind of a punk kind of ethos, even though he's not a punk. Like the whole thing of like he enjoys the fact that you're pissed off and you're enraged, and like he literally used to in a stand-up act would come on stage, look at the people, kind of like, you guys aren't even worth my fucking comedy, and walk off the stage. You know, so there's a certain kind of agita he's used to and loves and thrives off of. Whereas Dave Chappelle, if you think about it, he was riding high on his show. And when he was doing his show back in the day before he quit, a lot of people said, well, you can't make these kind of jokes, you know, because like there's certain jokes and certain things that are just for the community. And you really shouldn't be sharing this with white people and outsiders. Fuck it. And then it got to him. It got to him. One day he was like, what the? White people are laughing at me. They're not laughing with me. And people said, what the fuck? That's what we've been telling you all along. And he couldn't handle it and freaked the fuck out. So when you have a person,
Comedy Central for fucking him on the DVD rights,
right? So if you,
there's an element of crazy like a fox.
That's true, but so
Hello.
you kind of
Yay.
Go ahead. So you're Dave Chappelle. You said the third was the dress. Eugene.
Yes.
Now, Dave Chappelle wouldn't wear a dress. Remember, we had a whole skit thing about like, oh, they wanted me to wear a dress. A black man wearing a dress.
Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Talk.
All right. So yeah, he said the producer said, "I want you to wear the dress." He's like, "Oh," and he politicized it immediately. He's like, "Why, as a strong black man, do I have to wear a dress?" What the fuck is that about? You wear the dress, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I liked his political point. Maybe there was some conspiracy there, but you know, somebody asked me to wear a dress. I don't give a fuck. It's a job, man. Whatever. It doesn't, you know. I'll put on makeup, whatever. I'm not picking up sailors, but it's the role. Milton Berle put a dress on. What the fuck? Eddie Murphy.
Milton Berle could wrap it around his wrist.
Yeah, that's true. So it just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. Keep in mind that there were so many people involved in that production, and they all had to sign off on that. And that shit was B-level shit. It wasn't fun. Hey, I'll laugh at concentration camps. If it's funny, I'll laugh at Nazis.
Did you sit in Jerry Lewis's lap and get a private screening of the?
I'm sitting there like this the whole 2 hours, like this. I like the joke about the threesomes, where you know he's asking the women, and you know, and I like that. That was funny, but the rest of it was just like his preoccupations have winnowed. You know, he's sitting around with all his freaking money, not consorting with real people, but nothing but celebrities, and what? And you know, maybe he starts to feel funny about things later in life when the hormones start. Who knows? Who knows? I think that's underreported.
So you're claiming Michelle Obama turned him gay?
No, Caitlyn Jenner. I don't think you can discount the role that performance-enhancing drugs maybe had. I don't know. I don't know. I know.
Horses.
What's that?
Speaking of hobby horses and obsessions.
Yeah, I say steroids are incredibly powerful. Hormones are incredibly powerful, and the jury has not been out. The jury's not been out. It's not like people were. You can go back to 1910 athletes or Jesse Owens and look at. You don't know. You don't know. So I think that this was a disturbing peak.
So you're saying Jesse Owens used PEDs, and that's the only reason he beat the master race?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
that's what you're saying.
We not.
Get at it. So I mean, with Chappelle, what he needs to do is do what he does best and come out and say, "Yo, that shit was slack. I took some floor sweepings, tried to make a meal out of it. I needed the cash, fucked up." And that way, when he owns the fact that it was B-level shit, he doesn't have to get caught in the weeds of like gay this and gay that. Preoccupation yours, because politically it's not the time for it, man. Not the time for it, you know.
See, when you said he's do what he does best, I thought you were gonna say is take the ball and go home.
Yeah, no, I mean, and plus transgender, man, that's a tough fucking road to hoe.
Yeah.
You got to pick your targets. That's not, you know, most of the transgender people getting killed are African American. What the fuck are you talking about? It's just not. I mean, and again, if it was funny, I was waiting for it to be funny, but it wasn't funny.
Well, one thing that a lot of people think are funny is funny. Nate, your conservative host, Tomi Lahren. The Blaze banned you for life because your pro-choice proclamations on The View. What's your best PR move to become a Megan instead of a Milo?
Man, just get your agent on the phone with Fox News, Jack. Move onward and upward. That's, you know, I think she's got everything it takes to be a Fox News hostess. Except, and these days with in the post-Roger Ailes era, they're not even as handsy as they used to be at Fox. So I mean, there's no downside to it. You know, I mean, it's all strictly business these days. There's none of that extracurricular shit. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's my thinking, is that she's got a big opportunity, but I can't work in these conditions. Eugene is going crazy. Fuck.
The power of Chappelle.
He walked off. He's walking off. He's trying to pull a Chappelle here. This guy, he goes completely out of control. I'm not going to be.
What kind of professional are you that you can't cover for me while I get the fucking computer, you know?
I never said I was a professional. I'm drinking Trader Joe's Bellini live on the show. Come on.
You put me on Front
He
Street.
keeps it real.
Well, you know, I have to really say that this woman, I hate her. I hate her quite a lot. You know?
Now, as I tell my 4-year-old, hate's a strong word. We don't use hate.
Yeah,
That's why he's using it.
I'd like to say that I'm indifferent to her, but in actual fact, I think it's really just hatred, you know? How much money does she make?
Well, none at the moment.
Yeah, how much money did she make?
I don't know. How much does the Blaze pay?
Well, we could look it up and find it out. There's a not Polestar, but there's another book where they list this kind of stuff. I mean, with some relative, you know, and how old is she?
20s.
Yeah. You remember Dom Herrera did a piece about working with Bruce Springsteen? And Dom Herrera said, hey, you know, when he went back to Jersey, everybody was like, hey, you were working with Bruce. You know, how was it? You know, how was it working with Bruce? You know? And he said, well, it was great. You know, Bruce, he's a nice guy. And then he started thinking about it. He goes, you know, Bruce should be a nice guy. He should be driving through Asbury Park, high-fiving you, low-fiving you, coming to your house, asking how you're doing. It's Pepe, the 65-year-old janitor, who should have an edge. Okay, I am that 65-year-old janitor. So
I see.
Fuck her. What she wrote it on.
Damn.
Her problems don't hold a candle to my problems.
Man.
That tie costs more than her salary. Come on.
This was a gift from my poor, suffering children.
With their TV money.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well,
Speaking of suffering,
I don't know where the money came from. So.
speaking of suffering chillins, Eugene, you're United Airlines. You allegedly banned teenage girls traveling as special employee independent passes from your flights for wearing leggings, and by doing so, violating your dress code. A social media furor erupted. How do you make amends?
If you wanted to invent an airline that did everything wrong and did so for the past 20 years, that airline would be United. I'd like to give them PR advice, but currently they're in the midst of doubling down and trying to explain to a nation that's had enough why they're going to continue to do what they did, because it's in the rules. You know, somebody once told me, if you go to Italy and you get into a contract dispute with somebody, the second you pull out a piece of paper to show them that contract, nobody wants to hear about the rules. If you say, hey, I thought we had a friendship, I thought we had a relationship, the guy will start crying, will reach into his pocket, he'll pay you what he's supposed to pay you, and that has been true 99, 44, 100% of the time. So, but it underscores a human truth, and that is, you start talking about rules and what should be on a piece of paper, and all of America's at this point, go with the exception of corporate dickheads somewhere, are going, ooh, 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 don't want to hear you, don't want to hear you. I want to hear about your personal relationship. I want to hear how you're going to justify a 10-year-old crying because you fucking called her on some stupid shit that has to do with her leg. You, in my mind, as a parent at that point, you know, I'm casting about all kinds of allegations. I don't know what's going on with these guys and why they would single out a 10-year-old with leggings. I don't even notice 10-year-olds have legs, you know, much as this guy's fixated on, you know, so they, from smashing people's instruments to being, you know, to being employee. If I was a really paranoid conspiracy lunatic, they're no longer employee owned, I'm guessing, but I would say
since 2002.
Yeah, I would say this was an effort to discredit, you know, employee ownership, but they haven't been owned.
They did that themselves long ago.
They do it themselves. It is. There is no helping them. People hate to fly. And at this point now, I will pay twice the amount of ticket for a non-aggravating airline, and they do exist. So you know, keep it up. As far as I'm concerned, Pan Am used to be an airline too. You can go out of business. Fuck you, United.
Damn.
TWA, the worst airline, long gone. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly, Eugene got to the point, which is people didn't really give a shit about the details of this kerfluffle or whether or not it was reasonable for, you know, if you want the employee discount, you have to follow the employee rules, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody gave a fuck because everybody was just thinking about, fuck some United. Those fuckers lost my luggage and didn't make it right. They made me wait. They'd set me on the tarmac for 6 hours. Like, people just hate United, so they're waiting for them to fuck up. That's all this was about. The only people I saw on social media that were defending them were former United employees who were all coming from the space of, hey, I had to follow that rule. My kids had to follow that rule. Why shouldn't they have to follow that rule? It was the same scam that people in Wisconsin fell for when they started going after the unions. I don't get benefits. Fuck those union employees. Why should they get benefits? Like, once you've trained people to take a certain amount of screwing, then they want everybody else to get the same screw job. So those were the only people I saw who were defending United on this. Everybody else was just coming at this from a viewpoint of, fuck some United. They fucked me over on this flight, that flight, the other flight. Their prices suck. Their services suck. Fuck them. Fuck you. Fuck you. So United is just in a deep hole here because people hate United. Your offering sucks. Your service sucks. Everything sucks. Fuck you, United. Go away. Like, go out of business. Nobody will care.
And realistically speaking, when you're in that kind of PR hole, there is no help we can offer you. We're not miracle workers. Not that kind of miracle workers.
Well, one person
put the shovel down and stop digging with the rules. Shut up about the rules. Just apologize and move on.
Well, somebody who is trying to move on, Bigley. A teachable moment. Nate, you're President Donald Trump.
I am President Donald Trump.
You won the presidency with the premise that your mastery over the art of the deal would make America great again. Yet you failed to lead your party to repeal and replace Obamacare. What can we learn from your failure to conquer the swamp after threatening to drain it?
I mean, do your homework, ass clown. That's the thing. Like, this is a complete own goal on Donald's part. Like, there was no reason for him to hand over legislating to Paul Ryan, who he cucked repeatedly during the presidential campaign. He knows the guy's a shit sack who does not care for him and is not on his team. He knows that the guy's policies are completely unpopular. I mean, that legislation had a 17% approval rating. It had less than 50% with fucking Republicans. Are you crazy? Like, they couldn't have come up with a worse bill if they had set out to write the most unpopular bill in American history. Like, and then when he goes in and tries to bully let Steve Bannon go in and try to bully the House Freedom Caucus, that is not how it's fucking done. I mean, Tom DeLay is out there in the wilderness doing nothing. And I guarantee you, Tom DeLay has been having sleepless nights, game planning exactly how he would arm twist all these motherfuckers into voting for whatever he told them to vote for. Like, Tom DeLay had such control over the Congress, he could give away votes. If he got more than the 50 plus 1% he needed, he'd let some guys go and vote against it just because it was unpopular. These guys didn't know fuck all about what they were doing. I mean, they lost people where Trump won their district, like 70, 80, 90% of the votes in the guy's district. They didn't do any mobilizing of supporters in those districts. They didn't gin up phone calls, nothing. They had Steve Bannon go in and tell people, shut up and listen and do what you're told. And then Trump goes in and says the same fucking thing. I mean, at least play good cop, bad cop. Bad cop doesn't work. I mean, this was just complete self-ponage. There was no mandate for Ryan Care. Trump had a mandate because Trump told everybody what they wanted to hear. Oh, it'll be bigly better. We'll cover everybody. It'll be cheaper and better. No more death panels. It'll be great. And then Ryan comes out with, fuck you and your granny. We're going to give all the money to rich assholes so granny can spend half her yearly income on health insurance that won't cover anything. Like,
granny, nothing, buddy. They're talking about people in their 60s.
Hey, that's granny to me. And people like me.
Wise guy.
Your turn, Eugene. Is that all you got?
No. I think that if I had a cut and paste machine, I would say exactly the same thing. Except you didn't indicate the great amount of joy it gave you, where I'm perfectly willing to cop to the great amount of joy, because you got to know, you got like the great line from that 50 Cent movie. Do you know where you are? You got to know where the fuck you are. At one point, they talked to one of the Freedom Caucus moments and said, and they made 2 idle threats, and the guy actually did like this. It's like, it's no TV show, buddy. You cannot fucking fire me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fire. Well, there's steps to what steps? Go back what you suggested, which they didn't do. You could go back to a district and say, you could tweet out some shit about this Joe Smith, this prick didn't vote for. But those are a lot of tweets, and your tweets can't be. Maybe they can be. I don't know enough about Twitter, but they can't be target marketed, right? You put it out, it goes to everybody. So it's like, people in Michigan, you complain about some guy in Louisiana. People in Michigan goes, "What the fuck?" It was cluster fuckage of non-pariah, and I found the Trump guys I know who I'm friends with, I haven't even been able to talk to them about it, because I feel bad for them, kind of. And the reality of it is, they haven't brought it up either.
I checked in with some of my Trumpers.
That stuff was a stock market, which has been now dithering,
I checked in with some Trumper friends of mine, the few that are left, and they are all to a man, and they're all men, blaming Congress and not Trump. So Trump, in some sense, is dodging a bullet here, but he needs to purge Paul Ryan's dumbass and start over. And now he's talking about working with Democrats. Like, no, the Democrats have just figured out they're an opposition party. They're actually opposing his Supreme Court nominee against all their instincts. I mean, every fiber of Mark Warner's being wants to vote to confirm Gorsuch, but he's not doing it because he's finally getting the message Democratic voters do not want fuck all to do with cooperating with Donald Trump. I mean, it's way late in the game for Trump to be reaching across the aisle. And yeah, I don't know how he gets out of this, but they need a complete fucking rethink on this shit.
Man.
That's right.
Brings us to Kid Nate's heel turn.
And there were many, many choices. And you got me. I mean, the Ryan thing was a natural, but I got to give a big fuck you to Media Matters and the whole crew there. Bernie Sanders is out there. Polls prove he's America's most popular politician. Polls also show that Clinton voters have an 81% favorable view of Sanders. All that shit about how Clinton voters were turned off by Sanders is bullshit. And that goes for people of color and women, all the groups that were supposedly turned off by us, terrible Bernie bros. They like Bernie. And you know what else they like? They like single payer coverage. They want fucking socialized medicine. And here comes Media Matters trumpeting out, even in Vermont, they can't pass single payer coverage. I mean, fuck you, Media Matters. I would rather have enemies that come at me to my face than have allies like Media Matters and all these George Soros funded, David Brock backed bullshit groups that are complete fucking wolves in sheep's clothing, that have no interest in backing working people. They only exist to trick idiots into voting for neoliberals and oligarchy. So fuck some Media Matters and all these fake Democrats.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking in this episode.
Yeah, but as long as we don't put Kodak Black in the show description, Google doesn't care.
I don't know if you guys have been following the Eugene-S. Robinson Twitter feed, but
now that it's open to the public and I can read it.
Now that it's open to the public, you got no excuse not to. But I got a gift. It was like Christmas came early this year, and that gift came via a bloody elbow. And I'll just read you what I wrote not too long ago. Actually, minutes before, probably I shouldn't have even been doing it. An attempted coup, an attempted Lost Battalion coup, has been launched. Just one man with a dream and some mist, and I link to the bloody elbow, George St. Pierre, our top of the hour pick. Where I'm gonna be a champion in 3 divisions. Now, if your fucking Lost Battalion warning buzzer wasn't going off then, it should be going off now. He may or may not do that. He may or may not believe he does that, but that, like Sean Connery said about Kevin Costner and the Untouchables, who would say but that he wasn't? You know, this is crazy chatter. Crazy, crazy chatter. It rivals Chris Weidman's.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. But you know what you haven't mentioned, Eugene?
The guy is forcing me to pay attention.
Nazis and Chris Weidman.
Yeah.
I do not care. I don't care. He's forcing you to pay attention by saying crazy stuff on the regular. It's like he's confused. It's like a buddy of mine was like saying, you know, his girlfriend wanted to improve the quality of their sex life. So she decided, well, guys like talking dirty. So in the middle of sex, she just starts, fuck me with your big cock. And he's like, this is not sexy. It's creepy. Like from Ben Rothwell, friend of Knuckle Up, Ben Rothwell doing that crazy hand jive in the ring, generate interest to George St. Pierre. This is a sign, buddy, because I guarantee you, if he loses his first fight back, you won't see him. He will dematerialize in front of your very eyes. You should just keep your mouth shut. Look at Gegard Mousasi.
Nobody cares about Gegard Mousasi.
I care about Gegard Mousasi.
Yes.
Everybody who's in the know, who knows something about something.
You don't even pay for pay-per-views. You're freeload off people with...
I'm freeloaded over people who I have to listen to for 2 hours as I try to ignore them and listen to the comments. Whatever.
As you time your offer to chip in for the pay-per-view when they're going to the bathroom or talking to somebody else.
No, I typically say, hey, buddy, can I give you some money for the fight? Yeah.
What'd you say, Eugene?
Huh?
And then he says, yeah, I'll have some steak.
So maybe I'll even take my wallet out and I'll do this. And then I'll put it right in the other pocket.
Look how fat that thing is. Look at how fat that thing is. It was stuffed with fucking bills. I saw that. Crying poverty.
So, but what do you think, Eugene? How do you like how Michael Bisping is like, hey, George, sign the contract, else I'm fighting Yoel Romero. And George St. Pierre is like, title shot against Yoel? No way. He's like, he does not want any piece of you. No, Triple Crown is not going to happen against Yoel Romero. Sorry.
And GSP is in that. He's always had a really high fight IQ. Sure about is whether or not he's got a high fight business IQ, and still the master at his game in my mind. You know, friend of Knuckle Up, though maybe no personal friend of mine, Kungle was a master at picking guys till the very end, at picking guys he could believably beat each time. The craziest thing he ever said to me was, "What I think my chances are pretty good against Anderson Silva," and I had to do a Lost Battalion double take, and then pretty soon after that he was Lost Battalion. But GSP, I don't know. We'll figure it out in short order. I don't know. And of course, if you follow Steph, she said today, first day of Johnny Boney Joni's freedom. The suspension ends today, I'm guessing. And within minutes of seeing her post, the spies are fucking tweeting me, and they're like, I'll just read you what they said. John Jones is officially a free man today. They say the clock starts now. This guy is from his gym. He goes, he's making plans to hang out with Mini Mart Man later this evening. Is there night? You know, man. I'm not saying that the warning buzzer is going off for Lost Battalion, but I want everybody within the sound of my voice to understand that there are no third chances for Johnny Boney Joni. There are zero. And you do not want to see him fight at Bellator or World Series of Fighting. That's not the kind of fight anybody's paying for or gives a fuck about. There are no other chances for him. This is it. And that's about as close to Lost Battalion as you're going to get.
Man. Thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at EUGENE'S Robinson, at KidNateAlexiol. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
Ding, 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 ding.
Leave comments to YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube and MMA Nation iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Ozzy.com. And be sure to check out all three of us on Amazon.com. And spread the word. If you're watching, you know what you got to do again with the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Spread the word. Those of y'all talking about having more shows. If you know somebody that knows somebody with the juice,
yep,
make sure they're listening.
At this point, Amazon is looking for shows. We know this. We know Netflix is looking for shows. We know Hulu is looking for shows. You know what? I didn't even tell you guys what happened. You know, one of the cats who's a regular commenter and listener of Knuckle Up, I'm not going to mention the guy's name because I'm sure there's a reason why I don't know.
Turns out it's George Soros.
No, there's a reason I don't know this to now. He says he starts contacting me through Instagram, say, hey, we want to play the new Oxbow single on the radio. I'm like, yeah, buddy, yeah, whatever, Jack. Simultaneous to that, some hot shit producer from BBC is emailing my guitar player. I'm like, man, what? BBC wants some Oxbow.
You send him a dick pic or what?
No, it's the same guy. No, I sent him a dick pic. So I mean, there are people out there who are listening in a position to fundamentally change our lives. So talk to your friends at Hulu, at Amazon, at Netflix. We could up-level this shit, you know. Right now, however, I'm spending my time fighting with jerk-offs in the comment section of the new Ozzy piece, stomping out rape, literally.
I read it. I'm amazed that's how some people are coming after you, Eugene. Good.
Yeah.
I tried to warn him about this. That whole macho, I'm going to stop violence with more violence thing.
Yep.
You know, it's like it's like spanking your children for biting somebody. Like, it doesn't work.
There's a difference between a child and an adult who has working brain cells and judgment and chooses to use it in an unwise, unlawful, hurtful, misogynistic fashion.
Anybody that's out there is a sociopath and is beyond help.
If you see an old lady getting mugged, do you go, oh my God, let me go to my car and grab my phone, see if I can get the cops on the line to protect this old woman? You know.
It depends if I have a truncheon or a gun on me or if I have to go back to the car for the Hornet spray and a baseball bat.
So anyway, if you're of the mind, go on the comments and fuck shit up. And by that, I mean, back me up. Don't fucking be attacking me. I don't need you to attack me.
I'm trying to school you, Eugene. You're going to be woke yet. If you just listen to me, someday you'll be woke.
Yeah. Hey, when Brock Turner does more jail time than my buddy did for fucking parking tickets, then I'll say maybe I was wrong.
Man.
I'm stomping rapists wherever I find them.
I see. Good luck. Good luck, Eugene.
And on that note, we'll be back next week with another installment. If I Did It, and we don't know what we're going to be talking about because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.